we finally got our first look at the two brand new legendary accessories coming to Rise of Kingdoms, as well as a look at the upcoming changes to crystal tech, which look crazy. So today we're gonna go over all of that, but first, what's going on, guys? Cheers. Now, everything in this video is being revealed over on the official Rise of Kingdoms YouTube channel, so if you guys want to see this stuff as soon as it drops, go ahead and check them out over there. But of course, we're going to cover it here as well as soon as we can. And as you guys know, I am a partner creator with Rise of Kingdoms, so they do support a few videos on the channel every single month, just like this one. But the most important support comes from you guys dropping a thumbs up down below and subscribing if you're new. Okay, now everything we're talking about in this video was actually revealed in previous update notes, but we actually get to see the details today, starting with the Lost Kingdom tier. So here we can see how you actually gain points for your Lost Kingdom to upgrade the tier of that kingdom. Now, if you guys missed my more recent videos covering some of these updates, the higher your Lost Kingdom tier, the more units that you're going to get returned to you, and I believe also the more Crusader achievements you're going to have access to getting, as well as a bunch of extra gems. So here you can see that only tier 4 and tier 5 are counting. That makes a lot of sense. Of course, tier 5 are worth double. If your Lost Kingdom has 70 billion points and at least 600 governors have 10 million points on their own, then you get upgraded to Lost Kingdom tier S and you get an extra 5% units returned. So the base units return is 50%, now it's 55. Same thing here. If you have 100 billion units or 100 billion points and 800 governors with 10 million points, then you go to S plus, 10% extra units rewarded. Again, it says reaching these tiers unlocks new Crusader achievements and increases the return rate of the Hall of Heroes. If a governor immigrates out, their points still count, which is pretty cool. Lost Kingdom points are refreshed every 5 minutes. Okay, now as you can see here, we have Field of the Fallen #1. This has a little S next to it, so as the Lost Kingdom tier goes up, the rewards for this Camp Crusader achievement go up as well. Here you can see you get 20,000 gems here, so they are trying to really reward those KVKs that are insane. Who knows, you know, is this really going to be able to compensate for it? No, probably not, but at least it's much better than not having this at all, right? Prior to this, all KVK rewards were treated identical, and that's not necessarily fair, right? I mean, if you have a much tougher KVK, you have way more fighting, way tougher opponents, you should get the chance to at least get more rewards for it. Even if it can't compensate for your personal losses, at least it will be something. It is something extra that you get. And here we can see the Hall of Heroes goes up from 50 to 55%, so that makes a lot of sense. Next up, we have the Crystal Tech rework, and this is, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I'm a little bit worried. There's a lot of good here, but there's also, I'm a little on edge here. Let's talk about this. Now, just to be clear, this is gonna be in Pioneer test servers first, so this won't be coming to all KVKs right out of the gate. But as you can see, we start the Crystal Tech tree with some very basic stuff, but we see that March speed is actually divided up amongst your different unit types. Now, for people that only use 1 or 2 troop types, that's probably fine. For me, who runs, you know, I run technically 3 different troop types, I prefer having all my March speed just clumped into one thing. It doesn't really make that much sense to me. I don't know, but it seems to be the case. However, even though these are all separate, I want to remind you guys that the point of this crystal tech is not to require that you unlock all of this, right? So that's the big difference here. You can actually just completely ignore the engineer or the siege here and it won't matter at all. You'll still be able to move on to Call of Arms and it'll be no problem. So even if you only get this top row, you should still be able to get Call of Arms. That's allegedly what they have said when revealing this. Of course, Call to Arms is the extra unit capacity, so we like that a lot. Here we have Cutting Corners, we have Cultural Exchange Leadership. I believe leadership is bonus rally capacity, so it's nice that this is off on the side there because, you know, you're not going to really need that as somebody who's not rallying things, so that's pretty cool. Here we have Karaku Reports, Barbarian Bounties. I think they changed the names of some of these, like Cutting Corners. I don't know if that's ever been a thing, so who knows. We have Leadership 2. Here we have Quenched Blades 2, and this is where things start to get, okay, they start to get a little bit, okay, so we have more attack. This is what this is, right? Quenched Blades, improved bows. As long as this is what it has always been, Quenched Blades has always given you attack here, improved bows, etc., right? But now we have Star Metal Shields, Star Metal Bracers, Star Metal Harnesses, and Star Metal Axes, okay? And this is, if I were a betting man, I would say this is defense, okay? I would assume that this is defense points for each of the troop types. All right, let's move on forward here. We have more March speed, which is again unit specific, not sure why, but it is. Here we have Runecraft, which we'll go over in just a second, but this lets you summon a rune. Special concoctions looks like it's going to give you healing, either healing cost reduction, maybe, I have no idea. Emergency support, not sure what that is, but it's clearly a hospital bed, so maybe this is extra hospital capacity, or maybe it's hospital healing speed. I don't know. Here we have rapid retreat. We'll go over that in just a second as well, and this is where things start to get a little bit, I'm worried. Okay, I'm worried because this is obviously health. Okay, this is obviously troop health. You could see the little plus markers in each of these specific icons here, and like, let me just be honest here. I don't know if it's health or not. Okay, I'm gonna come out and just say it. I have no idea. I don't have insider knowledge here. I've not play tested this. I don't know. But okay, if we're just using a little bit of logic here, we've already seen attack and we've already seen what is almost clearly defense, right? Like metal shields and metal armor, like, and it's troop specific. What else could it be, right? Here we see more troop specific stuff, but it's got all these pluses here, which is, I mean, that plus symbol is like the red cross. Okay, it's always used in every game ever to symbolize health. Okay, so I suspect that this is health for each troop type. Now this is probably man, I mean, until we know the numbers, there's not really much we can say here, but think of it like this. Okay, we have spent our entire Rise of Kingdoms careers building equipment to specialize in health because it is what we've always had the least of. Now we don't know the numbers for this, so it could be at max level, this could be 5% infantry health, 5% archer health, 5, and it might not really move the needle that much, right? However, I'm worried that if this is enough health and if you're getting enough defense from the rest of the tree, I mean, like, look, if they're all being increased by the same amount, then I guess in theory it shouldn't change the math, right? Because I mean, everything's going up, which means if historically attack and defense were always higher and health was always lower, and they all go up by, let's say, 20%, well, then you're still gonna have attack and defense higher than health, and so the math would still work out to where health is still your lowest stat. You would still prioritize that over defense, for example. So I'm worried, but we need to know the numbers here. Okay, so I don't know. I just don't love the idea of putting health, especially health, and also defense, in Crystal Tech. It just, on one hand, I do agree that like everything has been way too like DPS oriented lately. Everything is dealing maximum amounts of skill damage, AoE damage, smite damage, combat damage, whatever, right? The damage factors are going up and up and up, and you know, this is a way to like make us a little bit more tanky, which is nice. The problem is, if you are a free-to-play player or a low spender, you may have a very difficult time getting your hands deeper into this tree, even if you can avoid siege entirely for a lot of us, and maybe you could even avoid, you know, another troop type. Like for me, I only run one archer march, so I'm not going to prioritize archers. I'm going to prioritize infantry, then cavs, then archers, right? So even, you know, in those scenarios, maybe because it might be a little bit more free-to-play friendly, maybe they'll free-to-play and low spenders will still be able to get all the stats that they need. But I am worried that, you know, if you can't max out all of these things as free-to-play or low spender, then whales and those high pay-to-win players are gonna have a huge advantage here, having not only more attack, but now more defense and more health. So that's what I'm worried about here. Again, we don't know the numbers, and so I don't want to like really jump to conclusions here, and technically we don't even know if this is health, right? But like using a little bit of logic, riders resilience, right? Like, I mean, I don't know, it seems pretty logical to me that this would be troop health, but we'll have to wait and see. That's my little rant. Okay, if it is health, that's what I'm worried about. Okay, that's what I'm worried about. The free-to-play and low spenders, if they can't get enough stats, I mean, they already have less stats, right? Like, let's be real, free-to-play and low spenders already have less stats than the high spending players. When we look at, you know, armaments, I mean, the high spenders are gonna have way better armaments. They're gonna have talents on their equipment, more likely it's gonna be all legendary equipment, right? So they're already working at it from a disadvantaged place, and now if the spenders can get even more stats than them through this that they can't get, then that could be a problem. Now again, I just want to sandbag this argument and sort of play devil's advocate by saying that if this is indeed much more free-to-play friendly, low spender friendly as they claim it is, because you can just completely avoid parts of the tree, then maybe it is possible. And remember, they are changing the timing of Kokurok, right? So you are going to get that moved up a little bit earlier, so maybe by the time Kingsland comes around, maybe even the free-to-play and low spenders will have a lot of this stuff already done. So it is completely possible that my entire, like, I'm worried about nothing, right? It's completely possible possible that I'm worried about nothing. They've already thought about this, they've already figured it out, and hopefully they have, right? Like hopefully that, like I want to be wrong, truthfully I want to be wrong here, but I'm just kind of throwing out that my 2 cents, like, you know, Crystal Tech is already wildly unpopular, let's not make it even stronger, right? That's kind of how I'm feeling about this, but that's what we've got so far. Let's move ahead here. We've got more March speed as well. We have special concoctions too. Celestial guidance, not sure what that is. I have no clue, but I'm curious. It goes up to 3 tiers, so who knows what that's all about. And then we have the end of the tree. Surprise strike, we already know is all damage that is dealt to, like, you know, swarming flags and things like that. This is really weird. Don't know what this is. It looks like it's obviously troop specific, but if you think about what's typically at the end of the tree besides surprise strike, there was improved morale, right? Improved morale gave you all damage, flat out, just straight up all damage, right? It might be the case that all damage is now split up between each of your troop types, and the only reason I'm saying that is because it looks like these icons look like it's one unit in the center just going like Super Saiyan, right? Like he's got this orb around him, like this energy, like, you know, looks freaking sick, and you know, that could be it. He's going Super Saiyan, all damage goes up, right? Or maybe it's a little bit of each stat, right? You get an extra 2% to attack, defense, and health. Or maybe it is resistance, right? I mean, this bubble could be a shield. It could be, you know, your infantry take 5% less all damage, right? That could be completely possible as well. So we have no idea what this is. I'm gonna be honest with you. Pike wall sounds like it would be something that is more tanky, right? Shatterproof sounds like it would be more tanky, right? So this could actually be take X amount less damage from infantry, take X amount less damage from, you know, cavalry, whatever. As you can see here, like this obviously shows calves, this obviously shows you know, the engineering units, this shows archers, and this shows infantry on the outside, right? So it almost looks like one guy is going Super Saiyan and is sort of like resisting or like pushing back each of the troop types. So it could be a little bit more tanky for each of these troop types as well. We have no idea till this comes in the game, but I'm really interested to see how this actually works. Let's go ahead and press play, and they will show us a little bit more detail for some of this stuff. So Runecraft unlocks the ability to summon a rune of your choice. Now you can see here, this looks purple, right? It looks purple, maybe blue. It's probably purple. So it might not summon the best of the best. And I think that would be fair, right? It would be fair that if you get to choose, maybe you don't get the legendary, because if you can choose whatever rune you want, then it kind of makes the legendary ones across the entire map useless, right? So I actually like this idea where you can summon whatever you want, but it's capped at purple rarity, right? Because then there's still meaning to all the other legendary golden runes around the map, right? I think that would be a cool middle ground. I like that a lot. And I'm also curious to know, like, can everyone grab these, or is it only the person that summons it? It looks like it's just a regular rune, right? If it's just a regular rune, then everyone can grab it, which I really think is cool. Next, we have rapid retreat, which they've already talked about, but there's a very special caveat here. Unlocks the ability to use gems to instantly return defeated troops to your city. So not only do you have to unlock this crystal tech, but once you get it, it costs gems to instant retreat. And I think that's probably fair, to be honest with you guys. Like, instant retreat is really powerful. And, you know, if there's enough whales with instant retreat, it could make it feel like there's crazy field presence, even if there's not that much field presence, right? So yeah, I'm curious to know how many people are going to use this, how many gems it costs, but that's what we've got going on so far. Next up, they go over the commander optimizations for Bertrand and Chook. I don't know if they've changed anything here. They've mentioned this multiple times, so I'm going to assume that they haven't, but you guys can go through and watch if you want to see all the new skills. We've talked about that on the channel before. Here they talk about pre-planning your flags, which we've also talked about. Title scheduling is also really cool. We've talked about this as well. Minimum requirements is nice. Let's go over the legendary accessories, because I know this is what you guys have been waiting for. So this really blew my mind, and I don't know if somebody at Lilith made a mistake here or what's going on, but look at this. Saddle of 1,000 blessings. Okay, the wearer's troop deals 3% more smite damage of all types. So okay, let's pause here for a second. A saddle, what is a saddle? A saddle is something that you put on the back of a horse or some other animal that you can then ride it, right? Okay, so you would think that the saddle would be benefiting the cavalry units, right? Because cavalry are horses, okay? But no, it's smite damage, right? And we see smite damage on what? Infantry, and also ranged, right? So really bizarre here. Maybe it's the case that this is supposed to symbolize the units that you're killing, right? Like your infantry have gone to battle and they have slain so many different cavalry that you've taken this saddle home as your prize, as your victory, as your trophy. This saddle of 1,000 blessings is what my infantry have gained by being dominant. But that just seems like a stretch, right? That seems like, why would that be the case? I don't know. Anyway, straight up we get 3% smite damage of all types. Whenever it deals any type of smite damage, it has a 50% chance to heal itself for 5% of the slightly wounded units inflicted by that damage. So slightly wounded units is crazy, right? Sev wounds would be trash. Slight wounds is good. I would have to go in and like look at battle reports and see like, okay, how many slightly wounded units, like we can't even, do we even get to see how many slightly wounded units we deal with in AoE? Like obviously the damage that you're dealing, you can see that as, is that not just Sev wounds, the red numbers? I guess I've never really thought about it, but it's troop losses, as is it's shown in the battle log as troop losses, right? Yeah, I have no idea. We'll have to test this out to see how that does. I'm gonna remind you guys that Pendant of Eternal Night gives you 5% skill damage of all types, and this accessory is historically known for being so underwhelming that people don't use it, right? They tend to use the ring instead, they tend to use the horn instead, and we never touch the Pendant of Eternal Night. So when we look at something like the Saddle of 1,000 Blessings, if you're giving us 3% smite damage, so not even 5%, it's only 3%, and then the other part of it is that you have a 50% chance. So every other instance of smite damage, you're going to heal 5% of the slightly wounded that you dealt. I don't know. I mean, we'll have to test this out. Obviously this goes up to 6.5 with exclusive effect. I don't know what this goes up to when you're special talent, like when you have the talent, right? Would it go up to 3.5%, maybe 4%? Either way, I don't know. Am I crazy? This doesn't seem that strong. I mean, it is slightly wounded units, so maybe you're gonna like actually heal a meaningful amount here, but like you're only healing off the smite damage, which if you're running Liu Che by Chi, that's a double AoE smite every time, and at least one of them you're gonna get a heal off of 5%. So I'm curious to see how this tests, but I mean, only 3% smite damage. I mean, if we already have Greatest Glory, which gives you 5%, right? Let's not forget that Greatest Glory is already in the game. This already gives you, not only is it smite damage, but it's normal damage, right? So this improves your white numbers as well. So I don't know. I don't know. This doesn't seem insanely broken, and thank God that it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Now, is it possible that this is going to be used for garrisons as well? Well, I mean, the Greatest Glory is great for garrisons because it's normal damage, which includes counterattack damage. Is this a garrison accessory? I really don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have no idea. We'll have to wait and see for this to come into the game, but let's move on to Hero's Hilt. Okay. Once again, it's the hilt of a sword, and you would expect that to be for infantry, but no, it's combo attacks, so it's cavalry. Now, the sword's broken, and that kind of lends to my sort of theory that it's like the trophy of battle, right? It's a broken blade from the battlefield. The cavalry were so dominant that all that's left of the infantry is a broken hilt, right? And you've slain the hero. Anyway, that's my theory. I don't know. You guys can let me know in the comments if I'm right about that. But anyway, whenever the wearer's troop launches any type of combo attack, it has a 50% chance to gain a 3% bonus to all types of combo attack damage for 5 seconds, stacks up to 5 times. So I mean, at max, this is a 15% increase to combo damage, which is good. But if you lose the 50-50 twice, you're probably going to lose all your stacks. Oh, this goes up to 4% with exclusive effect with the special talent. So I suspect this will also go up to 4% with the special talent as well, just to be clear there. So interesting stuff here. I don't know how I feel about this. Like, I don't love the fact that it's a stacking buff, right? A stacking buff with a 50-50. Again, a 50% chance of occurring is also a 50% chance of it not occurring, right? That's how my IQ is so freaking high that I understand how probability works. So yeah, like if it's fully stacked, that's busted, right? 15% combo attack damage. And if you're popping off a ton of combo attacks, this will be really good. I think right now this is not going to be very good, only because we only have King Arthur, right? Now for rallies, maybe, right? Is Subutai gonna pop this a ton? I don't know, but I think that this is really gonna shine probably when the next set of combo cavalry come out. I just don't love the chance of a stack falling off. You could lose all your stacks all at once. I have no idea. Also, like if you're running, for example, the King Arthur primary with your Philip secondary, only King Arthur is going to benefit from this. He's the only one of those two dealing combo damage. So again, I think this could be really good if you end up, you know, if the next Cav commander pops a ton of small amounts of combo damage, that's what's going to really keep this thing really like busting, right? It's going to keep it firing on all cylinders, and then we might have a problem. This could be actually really good. I think this actually might be better than the infantry one, if we have a double combo damage pairing with a bunch of, you know, procs. I think that could be really good. I don't know how I feel about this saddle. I really don't. It's a small heal and it's a chance to heal. The benefit is that even though it's a 50% chance, it doesn't stack, so it either happens or it doesn't. You can't lose all the benefit of it, right? At the end of the day, you still will always have a 3% bonus to smite damage, whereas with this, you actually don't have anything. If you lose all the stacks, there's no value there, right? You have to wait till it pops again. So there's pros and cons to both of these, and I think Hero's Hilt has more upside potential in the future compared to the saddle. But of course, we'll have to test this out, wait and see, and that's going to do it. So here we have the guarantee system for our transmutations, which is nice. So here you can see transmute 10 more times and you're guaranteed to receive an attribute of the same unit type as one of your locked attributes. My question about this though is like, what if the only thing you have locked is like a 1.8% all damage, right? How is the game going to know what you want? How is it going to know, right? I have no idea. But anyway, this is obviously really good, right? This is obviously really good. This dude does not need to be transmuting because he's got perfect stats, but there it is. And then of course, as we said before, every 30 transmutations, you're guaranteed a 2.5%. So that's really good. There's also going to be some amount of refunds for players who've spent a lot of transmutation. I think it's stones and crystals. I could be wrong about that. Don't quote me on that. But I think we're going to be getting back a certain amount of crystals and maybe transmutation stones for players that have already done a bunch of these without this pity system. So stay tuned for that to see if that is the case. Here we have the switch and return feature that's coming to mobile, which turns your search feature into a return home button, which is really nice. And they also have changed the size of the dots here, which I think is pretty cool. So the dots are much smaller now. I almost feel like they could go smaller than that, if I'm being honest with you guys. I feel like you can make them tiny and that'd be even better. But anyway, we've got all that going on here. And then what else do we have? We have the new SVIP cosmetics. Ride the Lightning looks freaking awesome. Okay, hang on, show that again. Hey, that looks freaking sick. We also have this cute little you know, twilight freaking tree or something like that with this lightning around the edges, which looks pretty cool. I like that a lot. So if you are SVIP, there are new cosmetics, and then we've got the holiday events, and this is stuff that we have seen before. So it is not apparently the 7k gems event, but there's lots of cool things in here for rewards. Protect the supplies. We have the puzzle event comes back. So anyway, guys, that's pretty much everything in this small video that I wanted to cover. We got more information about the crystal tech changes. We got obviously the two new accessories coming into the game. Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comment section down below. Your thoughts and opinions on everything. I want to hear from you guys. Is this a huge W update, or do you have your concerns? Let me know in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, drop a thumbs up on the video. I don't just say that in these videos. It really means a lot. Like, it helps the video a ton. Power is in the hands of the viewers, as always. I'm merely your puppet. Okay, you guys are the puppet masters. Just click the thumbs up button, helps out the channel. And while you're down there, subscribe and click the bell to be notified the next I upload a Rise of Kingdoms video. With that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been Omniarch. I will talk to you guys again soon. Peace.